kuti akhale akuyankha mafunso kuchokera kwa aphungu. Koma pamenepo anthu ndithu kupereka sawacha, kupereka moni ndithu aphungu osiyanasiyana aboma komanso otsutsa boma, kukampatsa ndithu moni kuti tsopano akatero wafika ndithu kuno ku nyumba ya malamulo akhale akugwira ntchito imeneyi yoyankha mafunso potsatiratu mene malamulo a dziko lino amanenera constitution kuti ayi nthawi ndi nthawi president wa dziko azifika kuno ku nyumba ya malamulo nkuzayankha mafunso amenetu aphungu a nyumba ya malamulo amathodwa nawo kuti kodi ngati dziko anthu athu kapena madera athu tiyathandize motani. Nde chimakhala ndithu kuti ayi president azifika ndithu kuno ku nyumba ya malamulo ndipo tu president Lazarus Chakwera wakhala akukwaniritsa mfundo imeneyi yobwera kuno ku nyumba ya malamulo kudzayankha mafunso osiyanasiyana ochokera kwa aphungu a nyumba ya malamulo. Ndipo pamene president wa dziko lino ali mkatikatimo muchemba anthu ndikutha ndithu kuona ndithu laini ndithu ya aphungu amenetu akupita pamene wakhala president wa dziko lino kukapereka moni kumulandira kuno ku nyumba ya malamulo kuti ayi mwalandiridwa president takulandirani. Nde iyayi ndikutha kuona kuti laini imeneyi ndi ayitali ndithu aliyense kupita ndithu kukapereka moni. Nde pamene zimenezi zikuchitika timanena kuti pamene president walowa nthawi ina iliyonse mdipiti wa speaker a nyumba ya malamulo ukhalenso ulowa mkatimo muchemba. Nde mkatimo muli mzanga chembekezo kapata moyo akhale akutipatsira zonse mmene ziyendere mkatimo komanso timva zonse mmene zikhalire kuti kodi mafunso amene aphungu a nyumba ya malamulo afunse president wa dziko lino ndotani. Potsatira ndithu section 89 subsection 4 komanso ndondomeko 70 ya standing order ya nyumba ya malamulo kuti president wa dziko lino azitha ndithu kubwera kuno ku nyumba ya malamulo kudzayankha mafunso osiyanasiyana kuchokera kwa aphunguso osiyanasiyana kuchokera ma constituency osiyanasiyana a dziko lino la Malawi. Timadziwa kuti ku nyumba ya malamulo kuno kumakhala atumwayi onena kuti aphungu amenewa amafunsa mafunso kapenanso ntchito zosiyanasiyana zachitukuko kuchokera m'maunduna kupita m'maunduna osiyanasiyana. Ndetu nduna za maunduna amenewa amakhala akuyankha mafunso amenewa komabe pamafunika kuti mafunso ena afotokoze ndithu president wa dziko ngati mtsogoleri wa dziko kuti kodi zina ndi zina zikhale zikuyenda motani komanso mwina ngati pali ndondomeko zina ndi zina mapulani ena ndi ena akhale akuyenda motani. Pano mdipiti uja wa speaker tsopano ukulowa apa pa chipata cha nyumba ya malamulo. Pano ndimpatsire mzanga chiyembekezo kapata moyo kuti atipatsire zimene zochitika mkatimo. Chiyembekezo.
kati ndithu mwa nyumba imeneyi ya malamulo kati mwenimweni mwa nyumba ya malamulo pomwe spika wa nyumbayi akungofika kumene kudza yendetsa zokambirana zimenezi pomwe president wa dziko lino wafika kale ndithu kudzayankha mafunso monga nzanga wakhala akufotokozera, koma pakali pano aphungu nyumbayi onse ayima ndithu mmene speaker ndi ma clerk akulowa ndithu kuti ayambe kuyendetsa zokambirana. Ndetu panali ndithu chisangalalo mmene president anafika mmenemu aphungu osiyanasiyana kupita kukapereka moni, kukapereka ulemu kuti zonse ziyambe bwinobwino. Pakali pano meti kunenamu speaker wafika ndithu nyumba imeneyi kuti zonse zokambirana za tsiku la lero ziyambe. Wafika ndithu nyumba imeneyi monga tinafotokoza apapa aphungu alichimire kutanthauza kuti akudikirira ndithu kuti zonse ziyambe paja zimayambato ndi pemphero kenaka kupita kuzokambirana zenizenizo. Pakali pano ndithu aphungu akhala pansi kusonyeza kuti pemphero latha, koma no pano chofunika nkuti zokambirana zenizenizo ziyambe ndithu nyumba imeneyi. Monga tanenatu ndi nthawi ya mafunso, anthu kapena titi aphungu kufunsa mafunso kwa president wa dziko lino. Mafunso alipo asanu ndiye sakhala asanu enieni chifukwa chokuti pamakhala mafunso onjezera amene aphungu enanso amene mafunso awo palibe pa 5 ipo amakhalanso ndi mwayi ofunsa zina ndi zina zomwe afuna kuti president afotokoze ndithu. Monga nzanga ananena poyamba, izi zonse zimachitika ndithu motsata ndondomeko zoyendetsera zokambirana nyumbayi imene amati standing order 70A imene imanena kuti izi zizichitika. Komanso malamulo a dziko lino anafotokozanso bwinobwino kufunika kuti president azibwera ku nyumba ya malamulo kudzayankha zina ndi zina zomwe aphungu akufunitsitsa kuti zimveke bwino kwa anthu awo. Ganizo limeneli ndithu cholinga chake nchoti timamva nthawi ndi nthawi kuno ku nyumba ya malamulo aphungu amakhala kufunsa mafunso kwa nduna zosiyanasiyana, koma kuti nthawi ngati yaka azifunsa kwa president wa dziko lino kuti adziyankhire yekha.
the President that as Malawi economy.
Leader, confirm the question.
I would like to
confirm the question.
I would like to confirm that this is indeed the question. Thank you.
Very much, Honorable Leader of Opposition and Honorable Member for Mulanje Southwest. Your Excellency the President.
Madam Speaker, I thank the Member of Parliament for Mulanje Southwest constituency who is asking and I quote, that as Malawi economy continues to face significant challenges due to concerns over wasteful spending and excessive borrowing. In this context, can you confirm whether the IMF program remains on track, and if so, what measures are in place to restore fiscal discipline? Madam Speaker, as someone who has kept this economy from collapsing under the crushing weight of historic debt, a pandemic that crippled the global economy, a foreign war that sent commodity prices skyrocketing worldwide, a cholera outbreak that killed thousands of Malawians in every district, and 4 climate change disasters that cumulatively killed thousands, left 1 million people homeless, destroyed millions of dollars of infrastructure and businesses, traumatized scores of children, and washed away half of the country's fields, and leaving 1 in 4 Malawians without food. I do not agree with the Leader of Opposition's assessment that the challenges our economy suffers from are caused by wasteful spending and excessive borrowing. We would not have qualified for an extended credit facility with the International Monetary Fund if our levels of borrowing were deemed excessive, because the restrictions on borrowing that our program with the IMF require are very robust. Similarly, we would not have had the likes of the World Bank and the European Union resume the budgetary support program that the DPP squandered in the past if the spending protocols required by the Public Finance Management Act were not being followed to the best of our ability under extremely challenging circumstances. And so, contrary to public propaganda pushed by the opposition, over expenditure within the 2024-2025 budget is within the limits that were approved by this August House earlier this year. In fact, if our spending was really outside the confines of the law and the best practices of fiscal discipline, the donor community would not even trust us with the millions of dollars they are investing for us to procure and distribute maize to fight the spate of hunger that El Nino weather has spread to 23 districts of our country. So if the Honorable Leader of Opposition wishes to have an honest and constructive discussion about how to keep our economy growing and in recovery, he must resist the temptation to make half-baked diagnoses. Madam Speaker, What would have been fair for the honorable leader of opposition to say is that despite my government's commendable efforts to achieve fiscal sustainability, the national budget continues to face exogenous shocks such as El Nino weather conditions, which has had a devastating impact on this country's harvest this year, thus creating deviations in expected outcomes, including deviations in economic growth and domestic revenue collection. Madam Speaker, what would be fair to say is that compulsory expenditure that includes interest payments on debts left by the honorable leader's opposition's party and wage bills absorb much of the revenue collected from domestic sources, leaving no room for other discretionary spending. So as the remaining resources are not enough for various government operations, including funding the Leader of Opposition's attendance of this session of Parliament today, government has no choice but to borrow to cover those shortfalls. But we do not do so excessively because we have to remain within our spending caps and within the parameters of the IMF program. But I doubt that the leader, honorable leader of opposition, would argue that borrowing a little money to ensure that he is able to represent the people of Malawi Southwest or any other constituency represented in this House today is excessive or wasteful. For I, for one, believe the people of Malawi Southwest are also Malawians who deserve to participate in these deliberations. Madam Speaker, as a way of enhancing
Member for Mangochi Southwest, you know the procedures. Nowadays, we don't shout, please.
Madam Speaker, as a way of enhancing fiscal responsibility, my government is committed to continued implementation of reforms such as the rollout of the Integrated Financial Management and Information System, IFMIS, which is central to improving budgetary control and transparency in government transactions. Madam Speaker, as the August House is aware, my administration entered into a 4-year extended credit facility, ECF, program with the International Monetary Fund in November last year, valued at $175 million. The program aims at supporting Malawi's efforts toward achieving macroeconomic stability and sustainable growth. Since its inception, the government has demonstrated a strong commitment to implementing necessary reforms, and so far, resources amounting to about $35 million have been dispersed by the IMF under that arrangement. Madam Speaker, the ECF program has also unlocked additional financial support from key development partners, including the World Bank, the European Union, and the African Development Bank. Some of these resources were received as direct budget support, which underscores the restoration of confidence that our partners have in my administration's management of public finances. And I must thank these international partners for their solidarity with Malawi in our greatest time of need. Because if it was not for their support, we would have had nowhere to turn for relief from the fiscal pressures we have faced, or for the forex of the importation of essential goods. I must also thank the cooperation of those international partners to whom we as a country owe much of our foreign debt, because it is thanks to them that we have made great progress in restructuring our national debt. This includes the People's Republic of China, with which we have already signed an agreement towards debt restructuring, while we are now in the final stages of reaching a debt restructuring deal with India. Meanwhile, just yesterday, the South Fund for Development approved our debt restructuring proposals, which is welcome news, on top of the in-principle agreement we already reached with OPEC and Kuwait. Similarly, I must thank the Honorable Leader of Opposition and all members of this House for approving other instruments that are part of the IMF conditions, including legislative measures on procurement, insurance, financial services, and VAT. So I urge all members to maintain this non-partisan spirit towards the ECF program that our country is benefiting from. And that is why when I led a team to both the headquarters of the IMF and the headquarters of the World Bank 3 months ago, I assured both institutions that all of us as Malawians will work together across political lines to ensure that the program succeeds. And I owe this entire House my deepest thanks for showing these institutions that my portrayal of our collective unity in support of national interests was accurate. In that spirit of unity, I invite the Honorable Leader of Opposition and all members of this House to join me in celebrating the fact that because of the measures we have put in place in compliance with the ECF program, also working to control inflation, as evidenced by the fact that Consumer Price Index, PI, for November shows a reduction in inflation, which if maintained, will help keep prices of commodities under control, which is precisely the kind of indicator of macroeconomic stability we should all celebrate. So, Madam Speaker, the country's ECF program remains broadly on track, save for a few areas that are not uncommon for countries in our situation. And as far as those areas are concerned, my government is currently working closely with the IMF to resolve them in order to conclude its first review of this program and clear the way for the next disbursement of funding to Malawi for the benefit of our people. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Cholo Central. Sorry? The mics are not working. She will come and check. Cholo Central. Your mic, everybody's mic is working. No. Remember, honorable member for Cholo Tava. Resume your seat, Cholo Tava. Resume your seat. Cholo Tava, resume your seat. Resume your seat, Cholo Tava. No. No, Cholo Tava, resume your seat. No, I will not have that. Honorable member for Cholo Tava, if you did not come for training, that's not my problem. You are supposed to be, if you want to be recognized, you are supposed to send in your name as quickly as possible, and it will take the first 6. Thank you. Cholo Central, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable.
Of the question, you have a supplementary? Thank you. Then first it comes to the leader of opposition, the owner of the question. Cholo Central, you come after. Next time, please use the gadget to inform me that you have got a question.
Thank you. Right Honorable Speaker, thank you for giving me a chance to provide a supplementary question, to ask a supplementary question. My supplementary question to His Excellency the President is, what policy do you have when it comes to financial management? I'm asking because, Your Excellency, you have made over 60 foreign trips with large entourage, and you are on road every day within Malawi. This has resulted in overspending. Consequently, we have had large budget deficit. As you are aware, Your Excellency, the inflation rate is now at 33%. Interest rate is over 25%. And the national debt is over 15 trillion kwacha. This cannot be blamed on environmental and geopolitics. To add, this, your trip has resulted in overspending. Consequently, we have large budget deficit, which means that government cannot live within its means.
Honorable Leader of Opposition.
It's a question.
Yes, can you stick? It is you who brought in this question. Yes. You're asking on economic deterioration and IMF.
Yes.
So the supplementary should stick to the issues
Yes.
that you had raised, please. Thank you. Yes, proceed.
I'm asking, Right Honorable Speaker, because there's a relation, because he has mentioned about the environmental and geopolitics. He has mentioned about the problems of the weather, but I'm saying the supplementary question, what policy
Members on my right, can I have order, please? Order.
does the government have when it comes to financial management? I'm asking because, as I've said, Your Excellency, you have made over 60 foreign trips with large interests, and you are on the road every day. Was it not possible that this work could have been delegated to your able ministers who are there? Because by so doing, Your Excellency, it will mean that we are saving money for Malawi. Your Excellency,
Honorable Leader, it's almost 3 minutes. Supplementary is supposed to be 1 minute. It's
Okay.
3 minutes. Supplementary is only 1 minute, and this is 3 minutes. So please.
I just end up your
Thank you, Honorable Leader of Opposition.
Speaker, by saying the World Bank has said Malawi is in fiscal distress. By fiscal distress, it means that we are bankrupt as a country. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Leader of Opposition. Honorable Member for Cholo Central.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for allowing the people of Cholo Central to ask a question, a supplementary question to His Excellency the President, and welcome. Your Excellency, you spoke within your response, the physical discipline that is being undertaken. And within the physical discipline, Your Excellency, it is very important that the 3 E's in economics, effectiveness, efficiency, and economical, be adhered to. I therefore would like you, Your Excellency, to pronounce yourself, particularly on the human-caused parameters in the economy, i.e. misprocurements, which are caused by men and your leadership. A very good example would be the misprocurements, for example, of hunting for fertilizer in pharmacies, for example, butchery, for example, And if we close, Your Excellency, you know very well that if we close those taps, you should be able to achieve what you are achieving. What do you intend to do to make sure that those misprocurements, which would form part, a very good part of this alignment to achieving financial growth, is done? I submit, Your Excellency. Thank you.
Zomba Changalume. Zomba Changalume.
Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for recognizing the people of Zomba Jangalume to ask a supplementary question to the President. Madam Speaker, IMF uses several components, and one of them is checking if the economic and financial policies are being followed. And since, Mr. President, you have followed this, and it has brought back donor confidence and resumption of donor aid. What measures have you put in place to maintain this most awaited donor confidence? Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Zomba Changalume. Your Excellency, the President.
Madam Speaker, let me express deep gratitude to Malanje Southwest for a supplementary question. With regard to the policy that I am pursuing in financial management, in the context, to put it in his words, 60 foreign trips, and that I keep traveling, I should trust members of cabinet to do some of the work I do. Again, thank you for what you say, but it is premised on assumptions that I would not agree with. First of all, Malawi is part of global economy. It is a bad foreign policy that excludes Malawi from others. And so whenever it is possible, I have made trips that would be for the benefit of our nation. When I would miss as important meetings as the Commonwealth, Commerce, and others, it means that I'm not attending every meeting, and ministers represent me to some of those. I also wish you to know that in some instances, my trips have been funded by those who have requested for me to attend in behalf of Malawi. And so to talk of wastefulness, as you put it, that would have been demonstrated. I just read you a response which was detailed. Cholo Central says there are some human-caused, shall we say, catastrophes in terms of what he called the misprocurement. Well, let me just thank you for being part of this august House that yesterday passed the PPDA law to make sure that all of the concerns that you talk about should be covered should there have been any questions on future procurement. So thank you for helping your country make the right choices. And Zomba Changalume was basically a question to say, how do you maintain donor confidence after we have come thus far? Let's keep doing the right thing. Let's keep maintaining what needs to happen. And let's continue to work in a bipartisan spirit that wants this country to make progress and not some particular individual party. Thank you.
Very much, Your Excellency. We now go to question PQT2, Kasungu North.
Yeah, your time now, your time.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for granting an opportunity to confirm the question in today's order paper that it is indeed coming from the people of TA Kaluruma, Chisempere, Kalikoka, Chisikwa, as well as Chikwa. I do submit. Thank you.
Kasungu North, Your Excellency the President.
Madam Speaker, let me thank people of Kasungu North who are asking the President, and the question is premised on the fact that government listened to Malawians, that local contractors must be prioritized for contracts. And PPDA Section 44, subsection 10 says it all. And all bids submitted to give preference to 60% of indigenous Black Malawians and 40% others. However, it seems most local contractors are failing this government with delayed projects like roads, schools, security houses. The people of Kasungu North wish to ask if it is possible for the government to revise the law under Section 44, subsection 1 of the PPDA to allow contractors to get works based on their capacity and history. Madam Speaker, the concern of the people of Kasungu North over the capacity of local contractors to execute contracts on time, on budget, and up to standard is a legitimate concern. And government is actively addressing this matter beyond mere legislation. This is because legislation alone cannot solve the capacity shortfalls of local contractors. Nor is it enough to simply say that those Malawians who lack capacity should be condemned and never be allowed to participate in the development of their own country. The solution is not only to award contracts to local businesses that have a proven track record of delivery and execution, but also putting in place mechanisms for building the capacity of those local contractors who fall short, so that the procurement system does not become a monopoly again. It should be obvious by now that while there have been governments in the past that have allowed contracts to be monopolized for the enrichment of a few, my government's settled policy of prospering together considers such greedy monopolies to be repulsive, and we do not want to allow that. In fact, let me be clear. Whether anyone likes it or not, I will always be the first and foremost. I will always be first and foremost a president who empowers the powerless, because that's what servant leadership demands. My commitment to empower the powerless is the reason why I enforced an SME order within 6 months of being in office to reserve contracts for certain projects in government for local businesses. My commitment to empower the powerless is also the reason why my government, through the Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs, has revised the Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets Act of 2017 and brought in a new PPDA Bill 2024 before this House, where it was passed into law just yesterday. My commitment to empower the powerless is the reason why Section 62, subsection 11 of this new law now clearly states that, and I quote, "A procuring and disposing entity shall ensure that 60% of the value of procurements carried out in a financial year and a national competitive bidding is reserved for Malawian micro, small, and medium enterprises, and 40% is reserved for other bidders." And that is clearly an improvement from the old statement. Now, since this provision applies to procurements by all MDAs across all sections, it is imperative that this House supports my government's efforts to ensure that sector-specific pieces of legislation are harmonized to reflect this requirement, following the example of the National Construction Industry Act, which was already harmonized to promote the growth of Malawian-owned firms in the construction industry, and which we complemented with the development of the Malawi Infrastructure Delivery Management Systems for selecting contractors based on their capacity and track record, as well as the joint venture and subcontracting regulation for incentivizing contractors who have a good track record to build the capacity of those who are new. So, in the same way that this combination of legislation that favors our citizens, enabling regulations that promote capacity building and training in contract and project management is creating jobs, wealth, and opportunities in the construction industry. We are determined to do the same across all sectors because our desire to empower the powerless is non-negotiable. Madam Speaker, this does not mean we do not see the value of international contractors that can do works of an international standard. As a case in point, I do not think there is any member of this House or any political party in this House that can dispute the fact that when they leave this House every day to go south or north of this city, they enjoy driving on roads that my administration has constructed. To international standards never before seen in the history of Malawi. But I want to ask members of this House to remember, when driving on those roads, that part of the value of these international contractors is the skills transfer opportunity that they provide to our own citizens to develop capacity, and so they should join me in advocating for procurement practices that empower the powerless by focusing less on the failures of those people, of our people, and more on their potential, no matter how long it takes, because Rome was not built in a day. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Very much, Your Excellency. Zomba Ntonya, Halombe East, then Chitipa East.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. And let me take this opportunity to welcome the state president of this country, Dr. Lazaro Jaguera, as fondly pronounced by himself so many times that I've heard him do so. I like the way that the president has said, to power the powerless. This is very strong and this is very powerful. I appreciate. But when we look at our local contractors who are toiling, lamenting for payments. Last time that they got paid was in July. Up to now, do we call this powering the powerless? Madam Speaker, when we talk about capacity, to capacitate our local contractors, it comes in 3 or 4 folds. Number 1, technical know-how. Number 2, financial. Number 3, headcount. These kind of elements capacitate our contractors. In this vein, in this light, are we capacitating them in order for them to compete on an equal footing with their international counterparts? I submit, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Zomba Ntonya, Palombe East.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for granting me the floor. I will start by agreeing with the President to say that legislation alone cannot solve the issue of capacitation of contractors and that there should be other ways of doing so. My question, Your Excellency, Mr. President, are you aware that the perceived lack of capacity of our local contractors is being exacerbated by 2 issues? The first issue is a little resource of allocation of resources to the contracts they are being awarded. I will cite one example of my road project in my constituency, Chiringa Muloza Road. It was awarded to a local contractor, Cass and Measures, at a contract price of 24.5 billion. In that contract, government had an obligation to pay 4.98 billion, which is 20%, as advance payment. But this House passed 2.4 billion as an allocation, which is not even enough as an advance payment. Your Excellency, that contract to date has not started yet. And one would think that the contract is not starting because the contractor does not have capacity, and yet it is our own making. The second issue is the issue of delayed payments. The day before yesterday, as a committee on transport, we went to Kalinyeke, where Fortune Construction is constructing a way bridge at a contract price of 10 billion kwacha. He was given advance payment, he has worked, and he raised a certificate of about 600 million kwacha. When we were going through the issues, one of the issues raised on this profile was that the contractor's lack of financial capacity. And it says the contractor exhibits lack of financial capacity as he is unable to finance the works. And yet the contractor has worked, he has raised a certificate of 600 million kwacha, and 5 months down the line, he hasn't been paid. As you are trying to look at ways of trying to capacitate this...
Member for Palombe East,
yes.
It's more than a minute, it's 2 minutes 30, it's 1 minute for supplementary.
All right. Is it possible that as you are trying to address the issues, your government addresses these 2 issues, little resource allocation and delayed payments? I thank you, Mr. President.
Chitipa East.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for granting the floor to the people of Misuku to ask a supplementary question to His Excellency the President. Before I ask that question, I wanted to thank the President for being the first President to represent, to be present in this House consistently ever since Matipati. Your Excellency, Chitipa East and its people are concerned that despite Your Excellency's commitment to good governance and observance of the rule of law, among others, there are a few individuals who always want to disturb your course. Your Excellency, I'm aware of the magnificent Mzuzu Library you have constructed in the north. I'm aware of the beautiful police houses you have built in Mangochi, Blanta, Misuku, Doa, and all over the country. I'm aware, Your Excellency, of the beautiful roads you have constructed in this country. I have not seen roads elsewhere other than the roads that we have now. Now, Your Excellency, what baffles me and the people of Misuku, that there are a few individuals who have decided to, to retrogress your progress by having to destroy infrastructure. For instance, ESCOM infrastructure is being destroyed. People have gone to the beautiful street lights that you have installed in Lilongwe. They started stealing. And so many of those barbaric acts. I want, therefore, a word from Your Excellency. What could you advise Malawians of like mind who want to retard your progress on such issues? Thank you, Your Excellency.
Advised, Your Excellency the President.
Madam Speaker, let me thank Zomba Tonya for the supplementary question as to how do you empower the powerless when they don't even have technical cover, when they struggle for money. And it's pretty much similar to Palombe East, talking about little allocation and delayed payments. And maybe I could just make some comments here. First of all, government is doing all it can to clear the payment backlog that came about due to price escalations. And the other problem most local contractors struggle with is that they underprice to get jobs. And so sometimes delayed payments happen due to government reallocations of resources, particularly when we are faced with emergencies such as hunger, cyclones, and so forth. But I must thank Palombe East because some of the issues raised are penitent with regard to price adjustments and allocations that sometimes do not seem to have come on time. I was up north just recently, and like he has cited examples, there are those who are doing excellently. It's not a blanket condemnation, as it were, of local contractors failing to do or to deliver. Some are doing excellently. But many times, there's been a tendency to believe that if I bid the smallest amount, I would get the contract and then immediately begin to revise prices because now I have gotten it. And that tendency has tended to derail certain developments. Some local contractors need also to learn to prioritize. When they have been awarded contracts, They do not want to invest in equipment and skills. Instead, they like buying luxury vehicles that cannot even be used in the contract that they are supposed to deliver. It would be prudent to make genuine profits after you have done your work, rather than to make it the first thing you want to do to reward yourself. But these are matters that we all need to be very honest about and talk about so that we together can address them. The fact that some have been able to do means that it can be done. The fact that others have failed, it means that we can still help them, give them a hand up, so they are able to not only improve on their skills, but have equipment that enables them to do their job. It's not uncommon to see people getting a contract and then running around to find people with equipment with which to do that contract, because now they have gotten the piece of paper. Let's learn to be very honest in the manner in which we work to develop our own country. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. We now go to question PQT3, Lilongwe City Center.
I thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me a rare opportunity to ask a very important question to the President of the Republic of Malawi, Dr. McCarthy Chakwera. I stand to confirm that question PQT3 appearing during this 15th session, during this 60th meeting, today on Wednesday, the 18th of December 2024, is indeed coming from the mighty people of the Lilongwe City Center constituency at exactly 1 minute past 3. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Lilongwe City Center. The Excellency the President.
Madam Speaker, I thank the Member of Parliament for the Lilongwe City Center constituency for the question which purports to indicate that since there's quite a lot of development projects going on in the nation, especially on road network, to facilitate movement of people and goods in the country, the people of the Lilongwe City Center have observed the need for this country to enhance the transportation system, both domestically and internationally. And therefore, they seek to ask the President if there are any plans to secure or revamp our own airline to improve air transportation in the region. I feel, Madam Speaker, duty-bound to remind this august House that Malawian Airlines, of which the people of Malawi are the majority shareholders, because of the 51% of the company's shares that belong to the Malawi government. And so this needs to be borne in mind, because it is not accurate to say that Malawi does not have its own airline. We do, and it is called Malawi Airlines. which has been in operation for a decade now, despite facing challenges as a new entrant into the market and having to weather the disruptions caused by COVID-19 during that year that I took office, which required my intervention to save it from going under. Now that we have this airline in operation, what is important now is to focus on how to promote it, grow it, and increase its footprint in the regional market. Madam Speaker, currently, the airline flies to 5 destinations, namely Johannesburg, South Africa, Nairobi, Kenya, Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, Harare, Zimbabwe, and Lusaka, Zambia. So in terms of increasing our airline's footprint, our plan for phase 1 of 2025 is to double the number of destinations by expanding to 5 new ones, namely Kigali, Rwanda, Lubumbashi, Democratic Republic of Congo, Nampula and Pemba, Mozambique, and Entebbe, Uganda. In view of these planned new routes, whose traffic will pull passengers at Kamuzu International Airport, Kia, and Chileka International Airport, the national carrier will be increasing its flight frequency for the major route of Johannesburg by adding 4 additional weekly flights to meet the increasing demand for this route. And for those who like traveling during festive period of Christmas and the New Year, Malawi Airlines intends to introduce 3 additional flights to Johannesburg on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays from December 21st to January 6th. December 21st, 2024, and January 6th, 2025. Madam Speaker, in phase 2 of our expansion plans, beginning in the last quarter of 2025, Malawi Airlines will start flying to the countries of Mauritius, Angola, Botswana, and Nigeria, once bilateral air service agreements are signed with those countries. We are therefore making the most of our strategic partnership with Ethiopian Airlines, which is a member of the Star Alliance, to expand the access of Malawians to foreign markets and to increase the inflows of tourists and investors into Malawi. For domestic flights, Madam Speaker, apart from flying between Lilongwe and Blantyre, Malawi Airlines intends to introduce flights to Mzuzu and Karonga. In the past, the limiting factor has been capacity of the Mzuzu runway to accommodate a Bombardier Q400. Currently, the runway at Mzuzu Airport has a total length of 1,300 meters only, whereas the Bombardier Q400 needs clearance of 1,600 meters to comfortably land and take off. So I'm pleased to inform this august House, Madam Speaker, that the work of Airport Development Limited, ADL, is extending the Mzuzu Airport runway from 1,300 meters to 1,600 meters, and is already underway by Airport Developments Limited, including the installation of runway lights to improve visibility and the procurement of a distance measuring instrument to enhance landing safety. So, Madam Speaker, the good news is that by the time I come back in this House to deliver my State of the Nation address in February of 2025, all this work will have been completed, and Malawi Airlines flights and Malawi Airlines flights to Mzuzu and Karonga would have started. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. The owner of the question, you have a supplementary? You have the floor, although you didn't use the normal process of acknowledge, so that I can acknowledge you on the gadget. The floor, Lilongwe Citizen.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to ask a supplementary question to the state president of this republic. I am 100% convinced with the response given by the president. However, I would like to know domestically, with the robust road network that is being constructed in Zomba, Blantyre, here in Lilongwe, and Mzuzu, when are we having a city public transport whereby reduction of using our roads by families and driving commuters could reduce drastically the usage of petrol and diesel? I know, Madam Speaker, that before, during the Kamuzu era, we had double deckers, we had trams, rail transport, which was very, very effective. Now, I would like to know if there are any plans in the near future that the president, with these road infrastructures in place, will make this city transport possible. I thank you, and I so submit. Thank you.
Thank you, Salima Southeast, and then Mangochi North.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to ask the question to the President.
Oh, yes.
The people of Salima Southeast has seen that the President and his government is doing a lot in road infrastructures and, in short, in public transport infrastructures. We have seen that the President has constructed the roads from Lumbas to Kalonga, Salima to Luangwa, just to mention a few, and even to the municipals like Kalonga, Kasungu, and Mangochi. From the budget statement of 2024-2025, your able minister, Minister of Finance, delivered a statement, and he talked about the road from Salima to Mayani. My people from Salima Southeast, they are looking at the eager waiting for the commencement of this road.
Oh, yes.
From Salima to Nkoma Mayani. When is it going to start, Mr. President? Thank you.
Thank you, Mangochi North.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, Madam. Let me first thank the President by coming into the Parliament. I thank him since he took power, has been coming to Parliament. And in thanking him, let me also congratulate the newly appointed Minister of Labour, who is with us in the House. This is the way to go. Madam Speaker, the people of Mangochi North want also to appreciate, to thank the President, like Senior T.L. Rulanga is thanking for the EPA you have given him, Senior T.L. Makanjira for the hefe post given to him, and the water project which is in progress, Sabutie Kuchibibi Kuchilawe, the bridge at Ritisa, which is now showing that the road Mangochi Makanjira is starting, because the bridge now is almost 90% done. This was the most difficult bridge. My supplementary, Madam Speaker, is the people or the road users of Makanjira, Mangochi would like to know much from the President, as some of the resources for the road has been secured. Like we went together in Saudi Arabia where we got $20 million, and recently the able Minister of Finance told this House that we have also secured about $200 million from Kuwait Fund. The people, the road users of Makanjira Mangochi would like to know the progress, when it is going to start, so that we can be happy in Mangochi. Furthermore, Madam Speaker,
Supplementary question is 1 minute. You're 2 minutes 17, so
just 20 seconds, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I would like also to ask the President if there are immediate measures. The people of Mangochi North will not be going to Mangochi as the rain has started because of the 6 bridges which are not passable right now. The bridges are Arilore, Chikosere, Rugora, Unga, Nyangu, Lungwena, and Makumba. We have already free contractors in Makanjira who are working on the projects that government has already assisted the people of Makanjira, which we are very appreciative. Can we use these contractors to help us in the immediate solutions for us to pass to go to Mangochi, mainly in the maternal cases we have?
For Mangochi North. And I know the President always wants to respond to our questions, but this was on air transport, and you're talking of road transport. Your Excellency the President.
Madam Speaker, I know the interest from air transport to road transport is legit, for many in this country use the roads. And so let me just make a few comments. With regard to road network and city public transport and things of that nature, by the way, there are already plans in the offing with regard to the reestablished MDC, and we're already looking at city buses, but we want to be able to do this with those that are already involved in transporting people in our cities, so that they could also have shares and such. We don't want to put anyone out of a job. We want to be able to include everyone in the new systems that we are developing. As far as the Salima Southeast is concerned, Their concern is the road to Mayani and Koma. By the way, this has already been allocated some money for designs, and the work is starting. Procurement will soon happen so that we have that road fully designed, ready for implementation. Mangochi North, I know the interest is Makanjira Road. We are grateful for the bridges that's been done, and we know others need to be. I can have the people of Makanjira, Mangochi North, know that now we have resources for that road, $100 million US. And so when we started with Saudi, and then we went to Kuwait, and then UAE, everyone now has agreed, and we have the total so that things can start to move. With regard to immediate needs for transport, the Minister of Transport will be looking at some of those and how do people move in this rainy season, but I'm so happy that now we can get our work started for Makanjira. That's about all I can say right now, and so thank you, Madam Speaker.
Very much, Your Excellency. We now go to question PQT4, Rumpi East.
Now it's on. Good afternoon, Your Excellency. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for allowing the people of Rumpi East to indeed confirm question number PQT4, that it is indeed from Sub-T.A. Chapinduka and now promoted by him to a full T.A. Chapinduka, which I'm grateful. And the T.A. Mwamulowe, he wants also to be a senior chief. He has been a T.A. for many, many years. And the senior chief Marweni and the Sub-T.A. Chimpamba, whom we have promoted, Your Excellency, and some Sub-T.A. Mkondowe, whom we have also promoted, Your Excellency, and the Sub-T.A. Njukura, whom we have also promoted, Your Excellency. So I would like to indeed confirm that these chiefs and the people, this question is from them. Thank you once again, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Rumpi East. Your Excellency, the President.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to thank the honorable member of Rumpi East constituency for his timely question about the delivery of fertilizers to this year's AIP beneficiaries. Madam Speaker, I'd like to inform the August House that the approach this year was to prioritize hard-to-reach areas when delivering and redeeming fertilizer, because those areas become inaccessible once the rains start. Distribution would then go to the areas or other areas that would be accessible at any time, even deep in the rainy season. And that is exactly what the ministry has done, which is why the work is now moving to provide fertilizer to areas that are more easily accessible. I can therefore assure the House that all registered farmers will be reached with the fertilizers within the effective time of fertilizer application. We stand by this assurance despite the challenges that we have faced in the importation of fertilizers because of restrictions on forex access, because as the forex situation improves, so does our importation of fertilizers, which is why fertilizers are now being sent to all retaining areas as we speak. Even so, Madam Speaker, for purposes of accountability and transparency, allow me to present the status of our implementation of AIP this year. And this data is as of our working days ago. Funding, 94 billion kwacha in funds have been released. Cumulative sales, 322,348 bags of NPK, and that represents 31%. 286,522 bags of urea, representing 27%. That's a total of 608,870 bags, representing 29%. 330,566 packs of seed, representing 31%. Cumulative dispatches, 341,016 bags of NPK, representing 33%. 344,010 bags of urea, representing 33%. That's a total of 685,026, representing 33%. Livestock, 578 goats. Madam Speaker, it is also important to note that AIP is only one social protection program among others. And the goal is to make sure that some families that are not covered by AIP are covered by other social protection programs. Those other programs include Mtugulabakomo social cash transfers, Climate Smart Public Works Program, School Feed Program, Shock Sensitive Resilience Program, and even the new NEEF loans we are now dispersing to young people without collateral. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Your Excellency, Mwanza West, Salima Central. Honorable, please. Mwanza West, Salima Central, and Katabe North.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for giving an opportunity to the people of Mwanza West constituency to ask the head of state a supplementary question. Madam Speaker, before I do that, let me thank His Excellency for all the projects he's implementing in our district, Mwanza. I have in mind the Mwanza Stadium, which is almost done. He has also commenced construction of prison officers' houses in Mwanza and 2 health centers that this week have just started to be constructed, apart from a lot of development projects that are taking place. Let me thank him so much for that. Madam Speaker, through you, I would like to ask the state president if he's aware. We appreciate that we received AIP fertilizers in my constituency way before rains started, more especially in the area of Tiegovati in Tambani, but we having challenges to access the fertilizers, the AIP fertilizers, especially on 2 issues. The first one being the issues of IDs. It happened that the people that were registering the people omitted. Maybe, say for example, instead of writing a 2, they put a Z. So when people go to buy the fertilizers, they are being denied access. So we have a lot of fertilizers, but people are unable to access it. And secondly, it's the issue of villages. Say, for example, Joyce comes from village A, and on their system it shows I come from village B. Well, even if I have my ID matches with that which is in the system, I'm still being denied access to the fertilizer. So I'm not sure if the president is aware, and if he's aware, what is it that he's going to do to make sure that people access fertilizers? Looking at it, that it's almost time for us to apply fertilizers. And lastly, I would like to ask the head of state if his government plans for alternative cheap technologies to replace chemical fertilizers for the rural people, looking at it that maybe the cost, does he have plans so that at least you have like cheaper technologies to replace the chemical fertilizers that we are using now? Otherwise, let me thank you so much, because as I speak, people are receiving the fertilizers through NIF, the NIF loan fertilizers. And as I speak, like I said, in Tier Govadi, people have gathered at Tier Govadi headquarters receiving the NIF fertilizers. We really appreciate that. May you continue that. And
Honourable Member, more than 2 minutes. Honourable Member.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
You, Salima Central.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for recognizing the people of Salima Central. A privilege to ask a president a question. Madam Speaker, firstly, I want the president to know that the people of Salima Central are very happy with his fiscal policy in this country. I am saying this because in Salima Central, we are appreciating some projects which, since the dawn of Multi-Party, we never had them in the other governments. Like today, Salima Central can receive in a year 200 million, and even in Mulanje Southwest, they can also receive the same 200 million. This was not happening the last governments. We have projects like schools and the health centers in Salima Central, which have never been there before the coming of Chakwera. For today, I want to thank the president for his answer on AIP, and the people of Salima Central are eager waiting to receive these fertilizers. But I wanted to ask the president, as we are giving people fertilizer, that is in making sure we don't have hunger next year. But for this time around, I want the president to know that the people of Salima Central still think if ADMAC could open, we'll be able to get food now, because not everyone will get maize and foodstuffs from Dodima. Just to ask if there are any plans, Your Excellency, if ADMAC will open so that people will get food now, as we are waiting to harvest with the AIP you are giving to the people of Salima Central. Thank you so much, Mr. President. We love you.
Thank you, Salima Central. Nkata Bay North. Was it Nkata Bay North? Northwest, yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to ask a supplementary question to the President. Your Excellency, the President, are you aware that a bag of fertilizer is currently selling at 105,000, which is far higher than the 4,495 price you promised Malawians during campaign? What actions have you taken to ensure that Malawians can purchase a bag of fertilizer at a promised price of 4,495? Given this situation, can you confidently say that your government is delivering on its commitments. Thank you.
Very much, Honourable Member for Nkata Bay Northwest. Your Excellency the President.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for the supplementary questions from Waza West, Salima Central, as well as Karabe Northwest. Let the people of Mwanza West know that the problem that was identified, in which beneficiaries whose IDs were showing errors, that problem is being fixed immediately after it is identified now. Also, the fact that we recognize that we need to have other technologies vis-a-vis fertilizers and maintaining the soil health that Malawi needs to have. We have approved technologies, including nano-fertilizer, which is liquid, organic fertilizer, organomineral fertilizers, and these are all cheap and effective compared to the chemical ones that most have tended to rely on. And we want you to know, people of Salima Central, that the plans to open unmarked depots in order for maize to be readily available, ADMAC has now been given 10,000 additional tons to sell in its depots. Funding logistics has also been released for transportation because we had issues to do with some of that vis-a-vis fuel availability. And so we want you to also understand that I'm aware that a bag of fertilizer is over 105,000, and that the first year we did sell 4,900 as per our campaign promise. However, we used to see or sell 5 bags of maize or 6 bags of maize to buy 1 bag of fertilizer. Now a farmer sells 2 bags, even 2.5 bags, to buy that same bag of fertilizer. Soya that was at 100 now is 1,500. Tobacco bales and sales have been improving year after year. So the equation should not be seen at just one end. We need to see both. We realize that worldwide prices have not stayed stagnant, but we have, even for the AIP, for a number of years maintained the 15,000 price, despite the fact that the fertilizer the price has hiked so many times. So people should look at this in perspective. We want to empower farmers
And if they used to sell 5 or 6 bags, sometimes 8 bags, to just get 1 bag of fertilizer, now they can do the opposite. Something else is working despite the propaganda. And so sometimes the letter kills, but the spirit is what gives life. Sticking to a letter of something that obviously none of us, being God, were able to foresee some of the challenges we have faced, it would be suicidal to think that things would stay the same and the prices would stay the same. But let's continue to empower our farmers and buy their products at good prices. That is empowering them to be able to access some of the things that would have been difficult to access previously. But let me also add the fact that we are intending, just like with fuel, we are intending to have fertilizer companies, in addition to what is there now, from OCP in Morocco. And this is going to, they have already done all the testing with Chiteze in terms of soil things now, and so that will also help us make the necessary adjustments in order that we may actually just for your information, when, for example, I was here in Parliament, we knew what CDF we were getting, and now it is no longer like what it used to be. And so we can't say because we wanted 29 million, then we should stick with it. We have raised it to 200 million because we know that the times have changed. And so we need to learn to tell the whole story, not just half of it. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Very much, Your Excellency. Leader of the House, you're rising.
Honorable Speaker, I'm rising
to announce that we are not extending time,
but also to have an opportunity to congratulate the President for continually respecting the Constitution and coming to answer questions, something that was not happening in the past. If you allow me, Madam Speaker, I will say this is what it means to be a servant of the people and a leader of the people. Bravo, Mr. President. If you allow me again, because you are going to wind up, is to announce business for tomorrow. Mindful that tomorrow is a private members' day, but time permitting, business given to us, we're going to deal with the money bills that have been already circulated to the honorable members and other bills that are on the paper. Good evening, and thank you so much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Leader of the House. The Honorable Member for Mangochi Southwest, you're rising. On a point of order. What has gone out of order?
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for giving the people of Mangochi Southwest to rise on point of order. I'm looking at the order paper, and I see that there is a question. There is a question 5, which hasn't been responded to.
Order on my right, please. Order. There's a Central East order, please. There's a Central East order.
Madam Speaker, is it in order that when we have an order paper, without moving a motion?
Honorable members on my right, can I have order, please? Order, please. Order. Salima Southeast, order, please.
On the order paper, is it in order that there is a question 5, which we prepared for? We had supplementary questions, but now it hasn't been responded. Is that in order? Because the people of Malawi Southwest wanted to know what measures.
Honorable member for Mangochi Southeast. Honorable member for Mangochi South. Can I have order on my right? Can I have order, please?
The constitutional duty of
Honorable
the
members on my right. Can I have order, please?
And respond to our questions.
Mangochi Southeast.
Yes, madam.
Mangochi Southeast, if you go back to our own rules,
yes.
If time is not extended, then we can't
why
continue.
Are we not
business.
extending time?
Well, this is an honorable member for Mangochi Southeast.
Why are we not extending time?
It's a government to extend time. I don't do the extension of time. So it is their business. Thank you.
Malawi has needed to ask questions. We are appealing to you to extend time. We are.
For members, before I adjourn the House, I have few announcements to make. We have students from Mudzu Primary School. These are students coming from Lilongwe City West. They have come to observe proceedings. Students from Mudzu Primary School, please stand up so we can please stand. Most welcome to Parliament of Malawi. And they are coming from Honorable George Zulu. We also have traditional leaders from Lilongwe. I'm assuming it's the same constituency, Lilongwe City Southeast. Thank you very much, our students. You can resume your seats. Mafumu amene mwachokera ku Lilongwe imirirani tikulandireni. Agogo achokera ku Lilongwe zikomo kwambiri takulandirani. Zikomo kwambiri. Honorable members, we have now come to the end of question time to the President. Before I adjourn the House, I wish to express my sincere gratitude on behalf of all honorable members to His Excellency the President for candidly responding to all the questions which the honorable members have raised during this afternoon. We do not take this for granted. Your Excellency, that you found it worthwhile to spend this precious time with us in this august House. Your Excellency, responses have shed more light on all issues which have been raised and are matters of great interest to the people of this country. This gesture is a demonstration of Your Excellency's commitment to adhere to the Constitution of this country and also depicts Your Excellency's support to principles of transparency and accountability to this nation. I wish to inform the House that after adjournment of the House, Honorable Member for Cholo Tava, can you please observe order? I know you've been complaining about you taking the floor. You cannot always take the floor. We have 193 members of parliament, and it can't just be you only being given the floor. So please, can I have, for the last time, can I have order? We have 193 members. We only had 12 questions, and most of the times we always give you space. And it's only fair sometimes to give others who don't ask questions to ask questions on the floor. Please. Thank you. I wish to inform the House that after adjournment of the House, the Speaker's procession will leave the chamber and proceed to the Presidential Lounge to see off the President when leaving the premises of Parliament. Thereafter, the President, in the company of the First Deputy Speaker and the Leader of the House, will escort the President to the Presidential Lounge. Finally, honorable members will leave the chamber, marking the end of today's sitting. Please let us adhere to this procedure to ensure that there is order and decorum when leaving this chamber. Honorable, I would also like to appeal to the journalists to keep away from the President's presidential entourage to avoid distracting the President's entourage. I now adjourn the House to tomorrow, Thursday, 19 December, 9:30 a.m. House adjourned.
That's Speaker of the National Assembly, Catherine Gotani Hara, there announcing that adjournment after the President has finished answering questions from members that brought the questions forward. Actually, like we indicated, there were about 5 questions on the order paper, but the President has managed to answer only 4. According to the Leader of the House, the guidance has been given that they were not able to extend time for the question time, and therefore 1 question has been left out, probably for another day, because definitely this may not be the last time the President is appearing in the House. He has always showed up when occasion demands, and definitely the member whose question has not been answered may just wait for that occasion. Zonadi huku ndiye kumaliza kwake kwa nthawi ya mafunso kwa President wa dziko lino yomwe imachitika nyumba ya malamulo. Ndi nthawi ndithu yomwe aphungu amakondwera nayo kwambiri chifukwa akamafunsa mafunso kwa nduna muja kumakhala kuti mafunso aja amayembekeza kuti akafika kwa President kuti zinthu zichitike, koma papa kumakhala ngati kuti apeza direct access kuti atha kufunsa kwa President kuti awayankhe mafunso. Panopa amene tikulankhulamu kuti ndipiti wa President ukutuluka pang'ono kunka kukhomo kumaliza kwa zokambirana za lero. Malingana ndi mmene wafotokozera Speaker wa nyumbayi, ndiye kuti msonkhano wa aphungu lero utha nthawi imene iyi panopa pamene President wa dziko lino akutuluka kuchoka kuno ku nyumba ya malamulo. Koma tu kunjako kuli nzanga Khadija Lapukeni. Tara fotokoza kunjako zili bwanji.
Ili ndithu chiyembekezo mmene zokhalira panja pano pamene ndili ndithu pa foya dipiti wa Speaker wa nyumba ya malamulo watuluka, ndipo tu akupita ku VVIP lounge kumene tu akatsanzikane ndi President wa dziko lino. Panonso tulankhula pano kuti President wa dziko lino wadutsa ndithu pa chipata cha nyumba imene ya malamulo, ndipo tu nayenso motsogozedwa ndi akuluakulu aboma, mtsogoleri wa boma mu nyumbayi akumperekeza ndithu ku VVIP lounge. Timanena kuti kubwera kwa President kuno ku nyumba ya malamulo ndi kutsatira malamulo a dziko lino, gawo 89 subsection 4 ya malamulo a dziko lino, ndiponso standing order number 70 imene imanena kuti President wa dziko lino nthawi ndi nthawi azibwera kuno ku nyumba ya malamulo kudzayankha mafunso kuchokera kwa aphungu a nyumba ya malamulo. Ndi President Lazarus Chakwera ndi President woyamba mwina chilowereni mu democracy dziko muno kuti azibwera kuno ku nyumba ya malamulo kudzayankha mafunso amenewa. Ndiye titero kuti pamene President wa dziko lino watuluka ndithu nyumbayi, tsopano nafenso kulutsa kwathu tisire pomwepa malo mwa anzanga onse amene timathandizana nawo ntchito kuno. Ine Khadija Lapukeni ndikuperekeni ku nyumba zathu zowulutsira mawu ku Blantyre.